Hey everyone, Desi's here with another video. Today I want to talk about the Project Quarm server once again. I made a video in the past and that was, I think, one of my most viewed Everquest videos so far, kind of talking about my thoughts on the Quarm server, but it was mostly a first impressions thing. I didn't really actually play the server too much. I also wanted to thank everyone for the support on the videos lately. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. We're pushing to 700 right now, so if you aren't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I make Everquest videos like this pretty often, so if you like those videos, hit that subscribe button. Personally, I've been in kind of a lull between Project 1999 and Teak and just Everquest in general, and I wanted to give Project Quarm another shot just to play around on a different server environment and kind of see what was going on. I downloaded a program called Zeal, which is kind of like a quality of life improvement for Project Quarm. This isn't something I've ever used before in P99 or live or anything, and honestly, it really reinvigorated my interest in the server because the quality of life improvements to the UI and just the gameplay in general really honestly gave me a boost of momentum in just playing on the server and giving it another chance, because it's kind of like a new novel experience to enjoy in Everquest. The UI that I downloaded is super clean and it really just feels very nice to play and very intuitive. Also, having the 144 frames per second available on a kind of a classic environment is also really nice compared to P99, and it was fun also to mess around with the field of view by making it super up to 90, which allowed you to kind of zoom out and see the entire zone for the most part. I was in Kanos Hills running around and you could zoom your camera out to see the entire border of the zone, and being able to look outside of the skybox and seeing it kind of distort and everything. I really like that. It just felt like a new experience to kind of re-explore Norath in this different lens. But besides that, just playing on Project Quarm, I made a Barbarian Shaman. He is level 11 right now, but I was leveling in the Everfrost area and Black Burrow, and I kind of forgot how difficult starting in this area was. It feels very isolating compared to starting in Greater Feydark and having Kelethin right there and Crushbone, Black Burrow, or not Black Burrow, Butcher Block and Unrest, all of these really nice leveling zones condensed together. Same with starting in Freeport. You have the East Commonlands tunnel right there. You have the Oasis and all of those zones Befallen as well. But starting in Hallis and Everfrost was just very difficult, and I played a Barbarian Warrior. It was my first character on P99 over 10 years ago, so I kind of remember leveling in this area, but I've died so many times and have had to run back from Everfrost to Black Burrow and Kanos Hills over and over again, and I feel like I'm finally getting to the point where I'm kind of out leveling these mobs and getting enough gear and better spells, like Spirit of the Wolf especially, which is I'm able to see light at the end of the tunnel of getting out of these zones. Because honestly, I'm just ready to move back to where I'm comfortable, to the East Commonlands, to even the Karanas, because I just forgot how difficult it was leveling in Black Burrow. But with that difficulty and the challenge also comes the reward of kind of the classic Everquest experience, and I've definitely met a few nice players in Black Burrow to group with. There was a shaman, his name was Richard, I think. He actually wanted to re-roll as a enchanter in Greater Feydark, like a high elf enchanter, and he stripped down, took all of his gear off, gave me all of his gear and 20 platinum that he had, and said, carry on my legacy, my shaman legacy, because he was sick of leveling in this area too. But he was at level 9 at the time, so I mean, he got through most of the worst parts, I feel like, so he probably could have stuck it out. Also, I was leveling with a shaman last night, and I guess someone in the server gave him a lot of nice gear, And he gave me a banded chest piece and some split paw gloves, so I really appreciate that. If if you're watching the video, thank you. So aside from like the Zeal download and just having a decent yet challenging time in Project Quarm, I kind of wanted to gloss over some of the differences once again. I think it's just important to have a reference point just when looking into these servers, just to decide what works best for you. So this server, it goes up to Plains of Power. It's currently in Kunark. I think Kunark just came out, so we probably won't see Plains of Power for a year and a half, I believe. And one thing that I really do want to mention, I've been playing on Teak. I haven't been playing recently just because I've kind of gotten burnt out from the environment. It kind of feels very much like you're racing to the end and everyone's trying to keep up with each other. That's just kind of the experience I've had when playing it. I know that's probably biased because that's what I see through my own lens, but it just feels like that's what the environment of that server is kind of pushing to. You can obviously spend real life money to buy experience potions, which will give you kind of like a blue glow around your character. And I think there is definitely an extrinsic kind of pressure to conform to kind of racing and keeping up with people, because you're grouping with 5 other people and they all have that blue glow on, like, they all spent some money or got like some XP potions, just kind of making you feel like, oh, if I don't have this, I'm not being as optimal as well. That's probably a stretch, but I think subconsciously that's kind of what it's incentivizing you to kind of fit in, keep up. And especially with the inclusion of Chrono on the server, I really do think that it kind of hinders the immersion of the game, as well as the reward of getting decent gear. It is a free trade server as well. That is an extremely fun kind of atmosphere to kind of be able to get gear that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to get, especially when it comes to random loot as well between name mobs. But I think also the inclusion of Chrono really hinders that fun as well, because these items are going to be overpriced, like the good ones at least. And honestly, it's just I can see the fun and the appeal in it, but I got to level 39 and it just hasn't been my cup of tea. I might hop back on, never say never. But for now, I think Project Quarm has been pretty fun and just being a laid-back classic experience similar to P99. Besides the big fact that it does have an evolving atmosphere, we are pushing to Plains of Power in the near future, so there is still that feeling that there is momentum to be had, and to be a part of an evolving experience similar to Teak, but not as fast-paced. I was watching a stream, I believe like Hot Kittens, I think that was the streamer. Shout out to him, very entertaining streamer. But he was mentioning that the Teak timeline between expansions is, I believe, 3 months between expansions, which, if you really think about it, is not that much time. Like, say, Kunark comes out, Velius comes out, Luckland, Plains of Power, like, those are all coming out within the year. And I think it really just pushes you to try to keep up, especially if you're in a raiding guild. And then, kind of looking at Quarm, it has a 9-month interval between expansions, and I think 9 months is definitely plenty of time to kind of get acquainted with the server, build a nice community, not feel like you're too rushed, because then again, we're in Kunark, the max level is already 60, there's a lot of gear that you can get in a lot of zones, and there's still going to be about 8 months more of Kunark. By the time Velius comes out, the max level will still be 60, but there'll just be more zones and more circulation of newer gear, and another 9 months of that. So we basically get like almost 2 years of kind of a period of just building up and having the time to experiment with different classes, while also being able to look forward to advances in a couple more expansions rather than P99 that will permanently be stuck in Velius, which is special in its own way. It's basically like a museum. You can hop in if you want and get some experience from that, but you kind of have the expectation that there's nowhere else this server's going to go. You can have your fun, but this is what it's going to be. Quarm is similar to that, except it goes a little bit farther. I think with the inclusion of Shadows of Lucklin, I believe the max level is still 60 in that expansion, but you get to see AAs, kind of like a ton of different new zones. I really like the Lucklin zones. Yes, I'm a member of the Lucklin clan, not the Looselin clan, so judge me as you will. Team Lucklin all the way. But there's a lot of new gear and everything. And then obviously moving into Planes of Power. Max level 65, you do have the Plane of Knowledge, which will seriously change the dynamic of the game and the world. But I think just leaving it at Planes of Power will give the player base a lot of opportunity to get obviously better gear and the raid progression that comes with that. Personally, I never really experienced leveling through the Planes of Power expansion or even Shadows of Lucklin and experiencing the endgame content in regards to that kind of era of EverQuest. And honestly, I would rather experience that in Project Quarm, where it's a bit slower paced, and especially the client is a little bit more old school, which I really find alluring and charming with the UI and everything. I would rather experience it in that regard than in the time lock progression regard, which honestly I view as kind of a bastardization of the authentic EverQuest experience, obviously due to the quick paced nature of it, the marketplace and chrono. It just feels a little bit less authentic of an experience, and also the fact that it's just a yearly annual cash grab for Daybreak. Honestly, I don't have any qualms with TLPs, but just where I'm at right now in just my playstyle, I do feel that Project Quarm is a good fit for me, and I did want to just share my thoughts and kind of advocate my stance on it. If anyone else resonates, or if you don't and you don't see the problem with TLPs at all and you prefer that gameplay over Project Quarm or P99, I would love to hear you out. What are your thoughts? Why do you play on a TLP instead of the emulators? I just love to hear everyone's opinions based on it. And then kind of moving on to just the end of the video, we're kind of pushing past the 10-minute mark. I've just been having, honestly, a pretty good time in Project Quarm. I've been a little bit removed from the P99 community, so I think that's been giving me a little bit more opportunity to kind of look at Project Quarm without feeling like I'm missing out on P99. So yeah, I've just been having a really fun time. If any of you are playing on Project Quarm, I'm sure a lot of you are, feel free to mention your character name in the comments below, and I would love to group with you. I'm Wise Runner, the Barbarian Shaman, so if you ever want a shaman in the group, I'll probably be there, doing some DPS, doing some healing, some buffing. So anyways, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. It really helps the channel out. And if you're not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. We are pushing to 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. We're already almost at 700. So yeah, just thank you all for the support, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace.